welcome everyone to this masterclass today with Catherine Casey. We're very excited to have Catherine with us today. Before I get started, just some basic housekeeping. So the webinar is being recorded and we will share the link with you in the coming days via email. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the Q&A box below. We'll do our very best to answer them all at the end of the masterclass. Just a little bit about Catherine. So as some of you may know, Catherine is the owner of the hugely successful Marketing Club. Catherine started the Marketing Club during COVID and it became an instant success, accumulating over 582,000 followers on Instagram alone. Catherine is a digital marketer specializing in social media marketing. Catherine graduated at the top of her marketing masterclass and brings over 8 years experience from various roles at Cork City Council and the Gleneagle Group. Catherine began her business by teaching people how to market their business online. So we're very excited to have her here today and to learn from her directly. So without further ado, Catherine, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much, Aislinn. Hello, everyone. I hope you're keeping well. Welcome to my webinar, Reeling in, Nurturing and Converting Instagram Followers. It is such an honor to be here with UCD today. It truly is. I'm just going to very quickly introduce myself and then we're going to get straight into the good stuff. So hi everyone, my name is Catherine and I am the owner of my baby, my beloved, the Marketing Club, where I teach small business owners how to skyrocket their marketing and their sales using the power of Instagram. So I have 8 years of marketing experience working for state bodies such as Cork City Council and the Gleneagle Group. So this is my story so far. So when I was in school, I was in the D class. So there's the A class, the B class, the C class, and the dreaded D class. And I suppose, look, I left myself with very limited college options. But the one course that I did get that I scraped by the skin of my teeth was business studies and CIT. So I did my business and again, my grades weren't so good. But then in third year, everything changed for me. So we had the opportunity to branch off to accounting, management or marketing. And of course, I chose marketing. And not to be dramatic, but that decision changed my life forever. So in third year, I got my first class honours. In fourth year, I got my second first class honours. And then I did something I never thought I would be capable of doing. And that was a master's. And I ended up graduating my master's at the top of my whole department. So out of thousands of people, which was definitely one of my proudest achievements to date. Skip on a number of years, the global pandemic, my life was like a roller coaster and we were all furloughed from our jobs. So myself, our whole marketing team, the whole hotel, we were let go in the blink of an eye. And I suppose, like everyone around the world, it was a really stressful time, both mentally and financially. But I suppose the one blessing that I did have was time. Now, maybe I didn't use the time very wisely, but I remember every evening being glued to the news and watching small business owners getting interviewed, tears rolling down their face, shutting up their shop for the very last time. And I just thought to myself, okay, I have time. I need to keep my mind ticking over or I'll crack up. And people have a problem. Business owners are struggling. And by business owners, I'm from Killarney. I mean people in Killarney. I wasn't thinking any more than that at the time. I said, if I could help a few business owners, my job would be done. So I created an Instagram page. From scratch, I just put out free marketing tips and tricks. And as they say, the rest is history. So this is how it's going. So in March 2021, I bit the bullet and I started with 0 followers and 0 intentions. Now in February 2024, I have over 860,000 people following me across Instagram and TikTok. And honestly, if I think about that number too much, it genuinely makes me feel sick. But I'm so grateful for every blessing that has come my way. That is me in a nutshell. I promised you I would not keep you long. So let's get straight into it. So how does Instagram work? Because we need to understand how Instagram works and how the algorithm works in order to trigger it. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Okay, so you share a piece of content on Instagram. This piece of content, it could be a reel, it could be a carousel post, it could be a photo of something, whatever it is. You click publish and the Instagram algorithm sends that piece of content to a small portion of your followers, but you don't know who's going to see that. And then the question is, do they engage with you? So do they interact? Do they like? Do they comment? Do they share? Do they save? If they do, they're signaling to the Instagram algorithm without even realizing, this is an amazing piece of content, show this to more people. But if they see it and they scroll past it and they don't think much of it, then on the other side, they're telling the algorithm, again, without even realizing, this piece of content isn't so great. And remember, the Instagram algorithm wants us to keep people on the app, because when people are using Instagram, people are spending more money on ads and people are seeing more ads, which means what? More revenue for Instagram. So for us as business owners and marketers, when we create content that keeps people watching until the end or scrolling until the end, then they're going to reward us by showing our content to more people, which means more followers. So what does all of this mean for you and your business or the business that you work for? So number one, you need to know who you're targeting. You need to nail your niche. Number two, create targeted content through Instagram SEO. And finally, create content that sells using sales psychology. So I'm going to break these down. These are 3 pillars of our webinar. So we're going to start off with nailing your niche, because as I mentioned earlier, the Instagram algorithm is like it catches your content and it just throws it to a small random group of people. But the question is, right, are these people going to engage? So what we need to do is we need to attract the right type of people, because when we attract the right type of people, that is when they interact with us. So this is my 5-step process to nailing your niche. Number one, define your passions and your expertise. What are your personal interests? What are you best at? Where do you thrive? So let's just take as an example, fitness and wellness, okay? That is quite a big, broad industry, so we're going to have to narrow that down a little bit more. Number two, research market demand. So identify any gaps or any untapped opportunities within your market. Where are the underserved segments of your market, okay? What I recommend doing here is using your Google Forms, asking your current followers questions, using Instagram polls, asking them this or that, what do they prefer? Get an insight from your followers. And finally, focus groups. Before I launch anything, I will ask a small, tiny portion of my followers, maybe 3 or 4 of them, and I'll say, would you mind hopping on a Zoom call with me? I'd love to ask you for a few questions, and we're back and forth, and it makes all the difference because I literally get into the mind of my target market. I'm so grateful for the time that they give me. And of course, if you're doing this, just offer maybe a little something as a thank you. Number 3, identify your unique selling proposition. So determine what sets your business apart. So what are you best at and where do you specialize in? So we've just mentioned there the fitness industry. Of course, that is very, very big. So it's hard to really narrow down there. If you're going to go, I'm fitness, all types of fitness. People are thinking, okay, but what are you really good at? So for example, you might specialize in postpartum fitness. You might be a mom, a mom of 3, you've been through it before, you might have done a specific course in it, you might be qualified in it, and they're the people you want to help, an underserved segment of the market. Number 4, define your target audience. So break down the demographics, the behaviors, age, location, because remember, you need to speak to people differently, people that are in different locations, different ages. You have to talk differently to people maybe in their 70s than you would a teenager, because they have different problems, different things excite them, different things worry them. So what I would say when you're looking at your target audience, this is what really helped me. So when I created my Instagram page, I was creating all forms of marketing for business owners. So I was doing all things SEO, email marketing, social media marketing. And by looking at my Instagram insights, it showed me the content that people were gravitating towards was my Instagram marketing. So that is how my Instagram insights helped me. So just go onto your insights and filter by content and have a look at your top content. What content is reaching the most people? What content is getting the most engagement? And finally, number 5, establish your brand presence. So you want here to, use your brand colors where you can. So in your, I suppose, on your stories, in your highlights, in your reels, in your carousel posts, this is very, very important because you want to make sure that your brand, that people know your brand when they see it. Also, the way that you speak to your audience. Okay, so for example, if you're selling something a bit more expensive, and it could be a bit more luxurious, you need to speak to people using that type of language, maybe a little bit more flowery. But if it's on the other end of the scale and you're selling something a little bit low end, then you can be a little bit more tongue in cheek with it. So you have to know your audience and know the way to speak to them. But you might say to me, Catherine, that is all fine and good, but nobody is seeing my content. I feel invisible when it comes to my Instagram. So what I would say to you here is 3 letters that sound a lot more intimidating than they are, but it's Instagram search engine optimization. So SEO, it is essentially the use of keywords on Instagram. There are 4 main categories. So you have your keywords, your location tags, your Reels topics, and your hashtags. So we're going to break these down now step by step. So number 1 are your keywords. This is using keywords in your captions that will help people searching for those keywords to find your content. Okay, so think about your business for just a second, okay? And think about if somebody was going to go on Google and they were going to search for a business like yours, what keywords would they pop in? Because you know yourself, we don't write full sentences into Google anymore. It's just keywords. So they don't know your business, but they're looking for a business like yours. Have a think what they're going to pop into Google. Now remember, Instagram is a search engine. People are using Instagram the same way they're using Google. They are writing in keywords. So I've just taken this example of a hotel in Killarney. It was actually a hotel that I used to work in, my first ever job, the Great Southern. And if somebody was looking for a hotel in Killarney, they might just pop in Killarney Hotel. So if I was doing the marketing for the Great Southern, I would have to think about that. I would say, okay, people are either going to be searching Hotel Killarney, Killarney Hotel, and I would take those keywords, Killarney and hotel, and I would put them in every caption of my reels, of my carousel posts, of my photos. And why is that? Because remember, the Instagram algorithm, it's a robot. So it's not a person, it's a robot. So we need to feed it information. So what you want to do is make sure you have the keywords in your caption. So the Instagram algorithm can try to capture your content and push it to that person who's searching for those keywords. Another part of keywords on Instagram is the bold part of your bio. So when you go onto your Instagram profile, click on edit profile and you'll see your name there, okay? And if you're a one-man business or a one-man band, I would recommend just popping in your name and your industry keywords. But if you're a hotel, like we just mentioned, of course, you're not a one-man band, so you can't do this. So what I would say then is put in the name of your business and then put in your industry keywords. Okay, so I believe if somebody is looking for a business like mine, they might pop in marketing coach. So that's why I have Catherine Casey, marketing coach in my bio. But you could be a personal trainer. You might sell personalized gifts. You might be a nutritionist. Pop those keywords into the bold text, and Instagram will try to show your profile to people who are searching for your industry. Location tag. This is the easiest thing that you can do on Instagram, but it often makes such a difference and we don't even realize. So this is adding your location to all your posts, all your reels, every single time you post. So I am from Kerry, so I pop in Kerry, Ireland. And if somebody has never heard of my business before, they might be coming down to Kerry for the weekend and they're searching things to do in Kerry on Instagram. Then as you can see here, you can see 4 of my posts popping up for Kerry, Ireland. So this increases my visibility and it exposes my business to new potential customers. So what I would say to you here is, if you have a brick and mortar store or business, pop in, get a little bit more specific than just Kerry. So you might put in Killarney as an example. But for me, I'm an online business. I don't have a physical shop. So I put in Kerry because it just gives me that little bit more, exposure, I suppose. Then we have our Reels topics. So if you're on Reels, you will see under your caption, there is a section there and it says add topics. And it looks something just like this. So this is adding topics or keywords. It's basically a fancy word for keywords that your reel is all about. So this will help Instagram to show your reel to the right people. So for example, let's just pretend that you are a chef. So you might select just tap on these topics here recipes, desserts, and restaurants, as an example. So you're telling the Instagram algorithm, show my reel to foodies, people that are interested in food, people that are interested in restaurants. Rather than if you select nail care, then you're showing your foodie videos to people who are interested in nail designs. Now, there might be a crossover, but you prefer to show it to foodies. If no topics are applicable to your business, select none because you don't want to confuse the algorithm. And finally, with Instagram SEO, we have our hashtags. So this is using 3 to 8 hashtags to tell Instagram what your content is all about. So back in the day, hashtags were a great way to be seen by more people. And unfortunately, that is not the case anymore. So once upon a time, we were told to use up to 30 hashtags. Now Instagram is saying use between 3 and 8. And I just picked this reel out here. It's a fitness reel, but they use hashtag bodybuilding, hashtag personal training, hashtag fitness. So it's basically saying, show this reel with these hashtags to people who are interested in this. So it's like adding your topics, but with a hashtag in front of them and populating themselves under your reel. So don't put them in the caption, or don't put them in the comment section, only under the caption, okay? Are you making the sales you dreamed of through Instagram? It breaks my heart. I honestly mean it. It breaks my heart when I see business owners putting in all the effort and they're saying, but I'm not making any sales. How do you make sales on Instagram? Let me tell you. Okay, so number one is looking at this as a whole, I suppose, is optimizing your Instagram sales funnel. So at the bottom of your funnel, you have the awareness stage. So this is like being out at sea, casting a big, massive net, trying to attract new potential customers to your profile. So how do you do that? Reels work best. And I'm going to tell you 2 reasons. Number one is very recently, I would say like last week, the head of Instagram said, people prefer video content on Instagram. Okay, so it's just a fact. People prefer video content on Instagram. The other reason I suppose this works really well is because when you think of all the formats on Instagram, so you have stories, carousels, photos, reels. Reels are the only form of content that have a whole section dedicated to it besides stories. So as you know, you have your stories at the top, but you have a whole tab dedicated to reels. That is telling me that Instagram are still focusing on reels. But more importantly, I would say when you're scrolling through the Reels tab, 90% of people that you see, you've never seen before. So that is why when you post Reels and they end up in the Reels tab, you're more likely to be seen by non-followers who are then more likely to follow you. Now we're moving up the funnel. We have the interest stage. So how do you get people really interested in your business? The way to do this is through carousel posts. So carousel posts are the multiple images or multiple videos or graphics that you swipe on. You know, all those little squares that you swipe on. So the reason this works really well here is because with carousel posts, you can position yourself as an expert in your field. If you're a business owner, you know your industry inside out and upside down. So now it's your chance to tell your audience, I know what I'm talking about. People are always going to buy from an expert because people trust experts. So here on your carousels, you want to talk about industry trends, industry tips and tricks. So for example, let's just pretend that you sell jewelry, okay? So let's just say you sell necklaces. So you could say, right, what necklaces work well with a round neck, with a V-neck, with an off the shoulder? That's valuable content for your audience. And you're showing a bit more than I create jewelry, but I can show you how to style your jewelry. Then we're going to move up another little bit and we're going to the decision stage. So with the decision stage, this is when you're going to tell people, you know what, here's your chance to buy from me. So with this in your reels, at the end of your caption, you can tell people to click your link in bio, or at the end of your carousel post, encourage people to click that link. Also, stories work really, really well. So think about the number of people that follow you and now the way smaller number of people that view your stories and view my stories as well, by the way. Okay, with this small number of people, these are the people who love your content because people are not watching your stories unless they're really interested. So these people are oftentimes on the cusp of buying from you. So how do you get them to make a decision? start up your close friends list. So with your close friends list, it is like a private story, okay? Only you can bring people in. It's like a VIP club. You're like the bouncer at the door saying, you can come in, you can come in. You know, it's that exclusivity, which people absolutely love. So if you're not familiar with it, I'm sure you've seen the green circle before, on your stories. And that means that you're part of somebody's close friends list. So when it comes to that, what I would say is encourage your followers on your stories first. Say maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Say, do you want to be part of my close friends list? On my close friends list, I give away this, that, and the other. I have exclusive deals. I have a promo code. I am going to show you the behind the scenes of my business. Encourage people in. And then when you need to make your sales, it's your close friends who are going to buy from you. Why? Because they opted in. Finally, action. It's time to take action, okay? So you want to ensure a seamless and convenient purchasing experience for people. This is probably I'd say number one mistake I see from business owners on Instagram. They make it too complicated. So let's pretend that you sell candles, okay? And your last post is all about a lavender scented candle. And you're telling people, click my link in bio if you want to purchase. Then people click your link in bio. That could be your link tree. It could be called link in bio in general. Your Instagram links, you know, the ones that I'm talking about when you click your link on Instagram. And with this, people are often going through the website and they can't find the lavender scented candle. So what you need to do is before you post about your lavender scented candle, go onto your website, copy and paste the link from the lavender scented candle webpage and pop it into your top link on your link tree. Under that link can be your website, but your top link should always correlate to your latest post. That makes it easy for people to purchase from you. The more steps they have to take, the more likely they are to bounce off. So now we're going to talk about reels that sell. Okay, so I always encourage small business owners to show their face when they can. Don't get me wrong, I know how hard it is. It took me 4 months, okay? 4 months to show my face. Me as Catherine, I was terrified. I was afraid of what my neighbors would think, what my family would think, friends, etc. But me as a marketer, I knew I had to. I'm not saying you have to, but when you can and if you can, please do. People buy from people. People don't buy from logos. Unfortunately, I wish none of us had to show our faces. So number 2 is your lighting. So your lighting is so important. Always shoot in front of natural light or use a ring light. You can get a ring light anywhere these days, inside in the range. Just get a cheap and cheerful ring light that will just give you, instead of having all those shadows in the background. Number 3, okay, this is part 3 of your reels. The most important part of your reel is your hook. So your hook is a short sentence at the beginning of your reel that is designed to hook people in, okay? This can be spoken, it can be written, or it could be both. So I always compare this to, when you're inside the shop, let's just say you're inside in Tesco and you see the magazine or the newspaper section. You're passing, and next thing you see a big bold headline and you're thinking to yourself, I need to see what that's about. It's the very same when it comes to your reels. A headline and a hook are the exact same thing. So let's just give an example. Okay, so you might be a nutritionist. So you might say, here are 3 nutrition myths to avoid. You might say that looking at the camera and have it written. Or you might have some kind of an aesthetic video and just have it written. Something that's going to hook people in. Next up, we have our watch time. This is something that Instagram are focusing on so much, okay? And all it means is, how long are people watching your reel? Are they like swiping off after 3 seconds, or are they watching the full 30 seconds as an example? The longer you get people to watch your reel, the more views your reels are going to get, therefore the more followers that you're going to draw in. So how do you increase your watch time? Okay, so we're going to go back to the nutritionist example for a second. So we have the hook and we have 3 nutrition myths to avoid. That's your hook. Then you're going to explain nutrition myth number 1. You're going to explain nutrition myth number 2. And instead of explaining tip number 3, you say, and myth number 3 is in the caption. So that way you have shortened your reel because you're not explaining tip 3, which is going to increase the chance of people finishing it, but also you're driving people down to your caption. So they're still spending more time on your content. Now they're in your caption, they're reading tip number 3, but this is where you're selling. It's like you've tricked them into the caption. So tip number 3, and then underneath that, all you have to say is, well, if you loved this, then you'd love my nutrition guide, and talk about your nutrition guide. And then you say, click my link in bio, or you can pop in some DM automation. So there is a website, it's called ManyChat. So it's ManyChat. And with this website, you go onto it, you connect it to your Instagram profile, and you pop in whatever keyword you want your followers to comment. I'm sure you've seen that before, comment a word and I'll send you a link. So go onto your ManyChat, pop in the word nutrition, and then write out the DM or the message that people are going to receive, a link to your nutrition guide. So then you just set all that up in the background, ask your followers, comment the word nutrition, they comment in the word nutrition, it triggers ManyChat, and off it goes. ManyChat will send that link to every single person who comments nutrition. So that is how you sell via Reels. But how do you sell via carousel posts? So as I mentioned earlier, your carousel posts are the multiple images, multiple videos, or multiple graphics that you swipe on. So like our reel just a second ago, you start with a hook, your headline. So for example, we'll stick with our nutritionist while it's hot. So we have maybe something like 3 ways to eat healthier. Stop doing this, or stop eating these calorific foods, something like that. Next one, calorie dense foods you didn't know, or tools to maintain, increase, or decrease your calories. You just need one hook. I'm just giving you a few examples of ways to really hook people in. Then the next slide of your carousel post. This is your time to open up the problem and pose the question. So you might say something as a nutritionist, say, there's so many overly processed foods on the market today. Are you looking for some natural organic foods to add to your diet? Then what I mean by value, there can be as many values as you want. It's up to the 10 slides. Is you can talk about, organic foods. So have 1 organic food, 2 organic foods, and say, the benefits to your body. And then at the end, you're going to say either click my link in bio to purchase my nutrition guide, show a few testimonials and encourage people to click that link, or the very same with your reels, drop the word nutrition in the comment section below and I will send you a link to my nutrition guide. Okay, that's all fine and good, but I really want you to move the needle in your business. And this is exactly what worked for me. Talk about your offer and talk about your offer regularly. This is something that I really struggled with because as a marketer, I specialize in sales and marketing and I hate selling. But what I've learned to do is talk about my offer in different ways. So this is a stat. It is that a potential customer has to hear about your brand 7 to 15 times before purchasing. This is before the pandemic. I can guarantee you this number has probably tripled at this point. It's kind of scary because why? We are watching TV. We are on social media. We're listening to podcasts. We're listening to the radio. Our minds are bombarded with information every minute that we are awake. And remember, other people are following businesses like yours on Instagram. So oftentimes we're seeing so many businesses, we don't know who's selling what. So talk about your offer in different ways. So for example, you could talk about your offer in your stories. You could talk about your offer in your reel. You could talk about your offer on the last slide of your carousel post. You could have a highlight dedicated to your offer. You could pop your offer in your email. Whatever it's going to be, just make sure that you talk about your offer as often as you can, but in different places. Next up, we have our lead magnet. And I know this sounds a bit, but this is how you honestly make sales in your sleep. So creating a lead magnet, which is also known as a freebie. It sounds all a little bit intimidating, but all it is a free something that you offer your followers in exchange for their email address. So this free something could be a free checklist, a free PDF guide, it could be a free masterclass. It's just a free something. So the benefit for your followers is that they get this free something, and the benefit for you is that you build your email database. Let's just take an example. Okay, so let's pretend that you're a wedding coordinator. As your freebie, you might have something like a free wedding checklist. Your brides and grooms or potential brides and grooms of yours are going to pop onto your link. They're going to download your free wedding checklist. And they're going to download that. You're going to build your email database, but most businesses, they stop there. And then they just send ad hoc emails whenever they need to sell something. But instead, create an email sequence. So what this means is these are all automated emails and they need triggers. So you're going to write out a series of emails just once, and you're going to pop them into your email provider. And you're going to set up these triggers. So I'm going to give you an example. So let's just say you're going to send 4 emails over the space of 3 to 4 weeks. So email number 1, someone downloads your free wedding checklist. You're going to say, thank you so much for downloading my free wedding checklist. Please find attached. That's email number 1. That's should come automatically when they download. Then we're on to email number 2 that you're going to send approximately a week later. So on your email system, you can say, send this email a week after they download the freebie, okay? This email should be value packed. And what do I mean by value packed, okay? I mean, position yourself as the expert that you are. So as a wedding coordinator, it could be something like 3 wedding trends to avoid, okay? That's a nice dramatic email subject line. And then a bride and groom are going to say, oh, I need to read this. I need to hear more about this. Then approximately a week later, you're going to send a 3rd email. Again, this is going to be value packed. And again, what I mean by value packed is that expert content. So for example, you might say something like, what do brides and grooms struggle with? Okay, seating plans. So you might say, here are my best seating plan arrangements or my best seating plan tips, something along those lines, okay? And then finally, you're going to send email number 4, approximately a week later again. And with your 4th and final email, you're saying, you know what? I've shown you what I have. Now, do you want to purchase from me? This is your chance because I've shown you what I've got. I've sent you a free wedding checklist. I've sent you 2 really valuable emails. And now I'm showing you what I have to offer. So with this, you can send all about your product or your service. You can talk about the benefits. Always remember to lead with the benefits and mention the features. Just mention the features, but lead with the benefits. Then you want your reviews, your testimonials, that's social proof, and then your link at the end to buy now. So that is you saying, I'm out of this friend zone. If you want to purchase from me, I've shown you what I've got. This is your chance to buy. Okay, so that's how you take people on an email journey. Next up, launching. Without a shadow of a doubt, this has been the biggest game changer in my business. Learning how to launch, I'm not being dramatic, it has probably changed my life. Okay, there are 4 stages to a launch strategy. And sorry, I'm just going to go back a little bit. So with launch, what I mean by launching is you're launching a new product or service. So you're setting a new product or service live on your website. That's all I mean. Sometimes this language sounds a little bit too technical. So just setting it live on your website, you're popping it up and you're making it live. So number 1 is the hype phase. This is probably the most important phase. This is warming up your audience before your product or service goes live. And you want to do this weeks before you actually go live. Why is that? Because when you launch to a cold audience, I promise you, you will get a cold response. You need to warm them up. So what I mean by that is you want to say things like, you know, something is coming. This is my best, whatever it's going to be yet. This is going to transform X, Y, and Z. Have countdowns on your stories. So, you know, those 2-week countdowns, 1-week countdown, 3-day countdown, get them excited. Take a picture of your product or service on your stories, bold it using the bolding tool, and then use the eraser tool and do a little squiggle, okay? And say, guess what it is that I'm launching, and have a little question box. Have little people answer your question, okay? Get people excited. So I always compare this hype phase to the movies. Think about the movie of the year, Barbie. That was the movie of the year last year. And we had Barbie and Ken, who were, of course, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Weeks, but probably months. And let's be fair, they're a blockbuster movie. So we don't need to go that far out as small business owners, but they were everywhere. The 2 actors. They were on the radio stations. They were on the morning shows. They were on the late night shows. They were everywhere. I was sick of them myself. And why was that? Because they were talking about the movie. They were getting us excited before it went into the cinemas. So they were saying about Barbie's outfits. What era were they in? They were talking about their on-screen chemistry. They were talking about what the Barbie movie stood for. This is the way you need to get people excited before they buy. So imagine if Barbie just launched today and we never heard about it before. You'd be like, oh, I don't feel like I'm ready for that. So always hype up your audience. Number 2, the education phase. Oftentimes we need to educate our audience on the problem that they have. So think most of the time people buy because they have a problem. So we buy a bottle of water. Why? Because we're thirsty. We go on a holiday. Why? Because we probably need to relax because we were stressed. We often buy because we have a problem. So before I launch something, let's pretend I'm launching a group program as an example. I might say to my followers, I might say, are you struggling with gaining new followers? Are you not making the sales you dreamed of? Wait until you see what it is I'm launching. March 1st, 2024. I'm not launching anything on March 1st, but this is an example. 2024, put on the reminder, pop on your reminder. And that is the way to get people excited and just to niggle at people's problems. Because if people don't realize they have a problem, then the chances are they're not going to purchase. Here in the education phase, expert content, awards, testimonials, talk about them often. Add them to your highlights as well. Always add all awards and testimonials to your highlights. Number 3 is your freebie. So we spoke about your freebie as a standalone freebie, but your freebie could also be included in your launch. So what I would say is a few weeks before it is that you're setting your product or your service live on your website, you could pop in a freebie, give a little free something and let people build up your email database. But also, as we mentioned earlier with the free wedding checklist, at the end of that checklist, there's nothing wrong with saying, I have something exciting coming March 1st, 2024. Keep an eye on my profile for more details. That way you're letting people know something is coming and they're getting excited, but you're also building your email database. Because remember, when we're launching, we're sending out a number of emails just because you want to touch people in different areas. Social media, we can be distracted with other people rather than when you get an email, you're probably sitting at home and you're actually scrolling and you're actually reading it and taking it in. Finally, open cart. Another fancy term for your product or service is live to purchase. Purchase now. We're live on the website, off you go. But most business owners, they stop there. Always give an extra incentive if you can. So when you're doing your big launch, say like if you're a product-based business, you might say something like free delivery for 48 hours, or if you're a service-based business, you might say a free bonus for 48 hours. Give people an incentive, or I promise you, they will stay on the fence forever. They'll get splinters from sitting on the fence. And I do it myself. You need to give people a reason to get off the fence. Now we're going to look at sales psychology. So this is our final, I suppose, pillar of the webinar. This is getting into the mind of your consumer, okay? So number 1 is to emphasize emotions. So this is avoiding presenting, facts and features about a product or service. That is old school marketing. Now we need to implement storytelling where we can. Why did you start your business? Okay, what does having a business mean to you? Are you supporting your family? Let us know more about your business. How much time and effort did it take you to create your new product or service? They're the stories. Tell little stories. They don't need to be anything too dramatic, but telling those stories. So that is why I always start presentations with my own story, and I tell my story on my Instagram stories as well. Why? Because it connects you with people, especially in Ireland. We're such great storytellers here. So always tell your story. Next part of this is video testimonials. They work really, really well. So I would highly recommend reaching out to your past customer clients, maybe particularly maybe people a little bit more confident, and asking them, would you mind sending me a 20-second video testimonial? Okay. It doesn't even have to be, a verbal testimonial. They could even just send you a little video of their product, something like that. Just some kind of video content. But if they could send you a verbal thing saying, this was amazing, it will make all the difference. Don't get me wrong. I'm not silly. I know that 99% of people are not going to send you a video testimonial. But even if one did, I'll give you examples. So let's just say me as Catherine, I need to go to a personal trainer. So I'm on John's personal training Instagram page and I see a video from one of his past clients called Sarah. Sarah's just sitting in her seat and she's talking for 20 seconds about how she got on with the personal trainer. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Sarah was once in my position. She wasn't sure whether to invest in John before. She has, and look at the incredible results that she's gotten. So it puts my mind at ease, and it just means that I'm more likely to purchase because I've seen it from the horse's mouth. Number 2, applying social proof. So people tend to follow the crowd and seek validation from others. I think most of us are guilty of that. That is why platforms like TripAdvisor are so popular. So as I mentioned before with your video testimonials, 99% of people aren't going to do that. But I tell you what's something a lot more people will actually do. Ask them for a written testimonial, but ask them would they mind if you took their Instagram handle as well. Now, don't get me wrong, they don't need any followers, they don't need to be public, but it just means that when you have a written testimonial and it just says Catherine, Kerry, 2024, look, let's be honest, we know that any business owner could write that themselves. Rather than when we see an Instagram handle, it's concrete proof that that person wrote it. There's no doubt in our minds. And that reassures people. It says, you know, that person got on great. If I had to message that person, I could. Obviously, you probably wouldn't bother, but you know, you could if you wanted to. So maybe ask a few customer clients, would they be comfortable with that? Then add your badges and your awards regularly. So pin anything of significance, anything at all, to the top of your profile. So click on the 3 dots on your post and click pin to profile. It's like gluing your post to the very top of your profile. So no matter how many times that you post, that post will remain at the top. And when that's an award or that's some kind of a course that you've completed, something that adds that social proof, it makes all the difference. It's the first post that people are going to see. And finally, we have creating scarcity and urgency. That fear of missing out. Oh my God, I know it so well. So that is such a powerful motivator. So using limited time offers and exclusive deals to create a sense of urgency and scarcity. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. So this is what I do every single time I launch, okay? I bring in these 2 elements. So when I launch, let's just say it's a group program. I'm launching my group program for the best possible price. So the day I'm opening the cart, as we mentioned earlier, I'm launching for the best possible price plus 3 free bonuses. And that's going to remain the fact for 2 days. So day 1, you can purchase. Day 2, you can purchase. But then on day 3, they're going to expire, okay? They're going to expire. And then you have day 4, day 5, day 6. And then on day 7, the price is rising, okay? So what are my 2 busiest days when I open my cart? Day 3 and day 7, every single time. Why is that? Because I have created urgency by telling people the price is rising, which it is, I'm not lying. And I'm creating scarcity by telling people this is your last chance to get your bonuses. So implementing scarcity and urgency into your marketing and into your sales, it makes such a big difference. And I'm going to finish off with my favorite tools. So for graphics, like a lot of business owners, I use canva.com. For my link in bio, I use Snipfeed. To plan all my content, I use Trello.com. For my organization, so to take off my to-dos one by one, I love Todoist.com. For my course platform, I use Kartra. Email marketing, I recommend MailerLite and Flowdesk. And finally, I take all my payments through Stripe. I want to thank you so much for listening. I promise you, I know how busy you are. It means the world. The amount of people on this is making me nervous. Thank you so much. Please follow me at _the marketing club. I'm always happy to answer any questions there. And of course, here now. Thank you so much.
Catherine, thank you so much. I think we're all running to our Instagrams right now just to apply all these tips and strategies. Honestly, amazing. And you can even see there by all the emojis. We already have 27 questions.
Wow.
So we have 15 minutes. So we're going to try our very best to get through as much as we can. If we don't get to your question, please do, as Kat said, you can follow her on Instagram as well. You can also follow us, UCD Professional Academy on Instagram, and we'll try to get back to you over the next coming days. But let's make a stab at these questions, Catherine, will we?
Yeah, of course.
So I can help you read through them. So let's go to the very top. Most patient
I'll
people.
hop on myself. Thanks so much for all the lovely emojis. I saw
I
them
know,
coming through
yeah,
the presentation.
No, you did amazing. You did amazing.
Oh, nice. Okay, so nice.
So we have a question there from Maya. Having trouble tagging products lately, is it not an option anymore?
Yes, Maya. So that is a big problem on Instagram at the moment. It's affecting a lot of business owners. So there should be more information about that soon. I actually spoke to you this morning, Maya. So I will pop you a link on that when there's more information. But it's just one of those things that it's glitching for people. There's been a lot of ups and downs with Instagram shopping. So once there is more information on that, Maya, I will pop you the link to it. It was something I was only talking to another business owner about yesterday. She said she had it and then she said it just disappeared. So it kind of seems to be a glitch at the moment.
Yeah, okay. Another question there from Simone. So if someone searches with a word in Instagram, You don't only get search results referring to the hashtags.
Sorry, can you repeat that question, Asian, please?
Also, if you scroll to the top, you might be able to see that. I know sometimes it's hard when you're reading them. So if someone searches with a word in Instagram, you don't only get search results referring to the hashtags. I think what they mean is, so if I type in hairdresser, they're going to see not just hairdressing hashtags, but also words associated with it. Is that what you mean?
Exactly that. Yeah. So when you pop in the word hairdresser, for example, generally speaking, okay, so the top pages that are going to come up are going to be pages that have hairdresser or hairdressing in the bold part of your bio. But also the people that are using the keyword hairdressing regularly and also using those topics, using the hashtags, they're the pages that are going to appear at the top, but also your location. So Instagram tries to show us posts from, I suppose, people that are close to us as well. So you'll always notice that you will probably see your local town's post if you are searching for like something like that, as opposed to someone maybe across the sea. So yeah, using your bold part of your Instagram bio, that is how you get found. Obviously, your hashtags, your top real topics, that's how you find people. So pop in the keyword hairdressing, and every page that is implementing all of that will show up at the top.
Great. Just someone there as well. So what if there are no topics present related to your business? So I think you already covered this.
Yeah, so it's a good question, but just select none. So I actually have another quick tip here. It was something I didn't mention, but a lot of small business owners, I engage with small business owners all the time. So I know the behind the scenes, and I'm sure if I'm a small business owner myself, and a lot of people, they use the real topic small business, which you think you should because you're a small business owner. But with this, the problem is you're then telling Instagram, show my content to other small business owners. And of course, other small business owners can purchase from you, but generally speaking, it's not small business owners you're targeting. Rather than I choose small business owner because I'm targeting small business owners. So be very, very careful with that one. But to answer the question, if there's none that relate, select none. Instagram is working on this at the moment, and they're broadening out their topics. So there should be more relevant to your business soon.
That's a really useful tip. Another one here from Maya. So would you recommend Samsung or iPhone for better quality reels? She's about to upgrade to a new phone. You can also go work for Vodafone or something, Catherine.
Oh, yeah. I get commission. I would say 100% an iPhone. And to be honest with you, this is the truth. Instagram is always iPhone first. Every time they create any new feature, they always focus on iPhone first. And I don't know why that is, but every time there's a new feature on Instagram, I tell my followers, and if they don't have access, 99% of the time it's because they actually have an Android. Don't get me wrong, the Android users will all get access as well. But with your videos, for me, you can't beat iPhone. I actually have, I think it's an iPhone 15 at the moment. I only got one a few years ago. I wouldn't get a new iPhone until it was on its last legs. But I got one recently and I really did see the difference. So investing in a good phone, it makes all the difference. And also, going on to Instagram, message me after. I'm just trying to think of it. You go into your settings and you go into your video quality, and you want to turn on high quality uploads on your reels. Actually, no, go onto your reels, and at the bottom it will say advanced settings. Sorry, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. And click on high quality uploads. This will increase the quality of your reel as well. So even if you're using an Android, or you might be using an older phone, whatever, older iPhone or something, it will increase the quality of your reel as well.
Brilliant. Question there from Anya. So there's no option for topics anymore on her Instagram reels. Was it removed?
Possibly. So that is very, very possible. All the time there are things glitching. At one point, actually, Instagram reels were just removed from me just for about a week. So if you don't have them, all I always recommend is delete your app. Don't delete your account, but delete your app. If you have drafts, save them first and just re-upload them, or re-upload Instagram again. And sometimes it comes back. Otherwise, sometimes features, they come and go. Instagram, unfortunately, we can't rely on it as business owners, but it's just one of those things. So hopefully it will come back for you soon. It won't make or break your content anyway. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
A lot of questions saying you're a great presenter, very engaging. Couldn't agree more.
Thanks so much. I was talking to Asian saying how nervous I was before it. Thank you so much.
So another question here. If I haven't used the location tag, should I go back and add it to my previous post, or would it have no impact once it's already been posted?
Great question. Great question. So no, I wouldn't bother, to be honest. I wouldn't bother because I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, if any difference at all, because Instagram is really only going to start ranking your newer content anyway. It's like anything. We only tend to see kind of relatively new content in Instagram. Just make sure to add it every single time you post going forward. So like I said, either your town or your county every single time. I wouldn't even go Ireland. It's just too big. Just go that bit specific. Reels and posts. Single photos, carousels, everything. You'll see with mine, I never ever skip it because it just helps to tell Instagram where you're located.
Great. Question there from Sonny. Sonny, not too sure. What are your thoughts on Instagram lives? They found them great during the pandemic, but have they kind of tailed back off because people are gone back to their normal lives?
Great question. I would say Instagram lives are amazing. Okay. They're an amazing way for your audience to see you live like this because, and I'll be honest with you, I never go live myself because it makes me so nervous. But I would say to you, they've definitely gone back from the pandemic. Look, we're not going to lie, 100% they have. People during the pandemic, they were looking to go on to lives, to watch lives from people, creators they were interested in. But I would say to you, I wouldn't let that put you off, because the people who are on the cusp of buying for you are going to be watching your live. And if you come across, you know, like a lovely person, like I know you are, then people will say, you know what, I want to support that person. So it's not going to get you that engagement it once would have, but I would still recommend doing it, not religiously, but when and where you can.
Perfect. Question there from Martina. How do you make a close friends list?
Yes, great question. So you go on to, if I just get it here on my own phone. So you just click on to the plus button and hold on, go on to your stories actually. And then you just click on the top button here and you'll see the section just says close friends. So every time you post, you'll see a section there called close friends. You tap on that and it will go to your close friends list. But before you do that, you want to ask people, should they be added to your close friends list? So it's just about asking people and then popping them into it.
Great. Question here. I'm trying to push myself as a personal stylist. My page is baking, style, and lifestyle. I don't know if I should set up a new page to focus just on styling. However, it means starting a new page from scratch, as a lot of my followers are on my page for a mix of each, especially baking. So should they start a new page? Yeah.
I'm going to give you the answer that you don't want to hear. I would want to hear it myself. But like we spoke about the niche at the beginning, when your content is, you want your content, all of your content to go to a specific group of people. Okay. Because when it does, that's when your engagement increases. And I know it's not what you want to hear. There's no problem with sprinkling a little bit of other content in your stories, but I would keep all of your posts primarily about one topic. And now don't get me wrong, you can do loads of things on that one topic. And as you, I suppose, nail that one topic, you can afford to branch off a little bit, but it still needs to be related, if that makes sense. So for me, it would be, you know, Instagram and maybe a little bit of TikTok, you know, all different forms of social media marketing as an example. But I would create a new page. Sorry.
Another question. Is it good to put TikTok videos in Reels, or does this hinder your reach?
Okay, so this is a question. This is an answer of two parts. Okay, so there's no problem with putting TikToks on Instagram, but they can't have the Instagram or the TikTok watermark. When you have the TikTok watermark on Reels, then Instagram is going to like literally nosedive your reach, because Instagram, the head of Instagram came out and said, when you put up TikTok logos, we're going to decrease your reach. It's just what's going to happen. But there are websites. So just Google it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Is it Snap Insta? Something like that. There's one for TikTok to Instagram and one for Instagram to TikTok. So that's one of them. So it's Snap Insta or Snap Tik, something along those lines. And just Google that and something will come up. Pop in, you go onto your TikTok video, copy the link, put it into this website, click download, and then it's going to download without the watermark. And then you can put it on Reels. Instagram are never going to know that it was once on TikTok, just no watermark.
Great. Just a lovely comment here. So Catherine is very knowledgeable, learned a lot in 30 minutes than I did in 30 days. And she just wants to know, will she get the webinar recording? So yes, anyone who signed up, we will send the webinar recording to you in the coming days, as well as the slides. A long question here, so bear with me. From Linda Barry. This is great advice. Thank you. If your core business is not marketing, how do you advise we best use our time, as the algorithm is constantly changing? For example, I am a I am on career coaching calls all day. So sometimes the marketing work feels like an overwhelming addition to my core role. And then trying to follow trends can feel like an additional effort. So I suppose she goes about her normal job, but then
Totally get it.
trying to get time to do her marketing as well is a bit overwhelming when everything keeps changing.
Yeah, I know, Linda. That's a great question, Linda. 100%. So what I would say to you are two things. Number one is batch create your content. So, and I know some people don't like to hear this, and it was something that I wasn't a fan of either until I started doing it. So what I do is every Thursday or Friday, I will just sit down for 1 hour and I will just come up with content ideas, okay? As many content ideas as I can. And I will kind of script out for 1 hour. I give myself 1 hour, that is it. And I'll write out my ideas. And then on the Friday, because I like to have it done, feel like I have it done for the weekend, I will create all my content in one go. You don't need to change your top. You don't need to change your hat if you're wearing a hat. It doesn't matter. Create all your content in one go. That way you're in the mood, you're ready to go. You're saying, you know what, if you need to wash your hair, the hair is washed, you're kind of ready to go. So creating it all in one go has made all the difference. Number two is don't be afraid to repost past posts. If your posts are more than 3 months old, just pop it up again. Literally find it in your camera roll and pop it up again. And I promise you, most people won't notice. I would say 30% of my posts are past posts that I've already created. And what you find is your past posts that have now only pop up past posts that have performed well. If they haven't performed well, I wouldn't recommend. But I just filter it by my insights. I find my past best performing reels by reach or by engagement, and I just post them again. That's it. And they always, I've had one reel before, I put it up and it maybe had 50,000 views, something like that. I posted the exact same reel 6 months later and it had like 1.5 million views. And people had seen it before, but people see content, like I said, every day. So they need to see something a number of times before they remember.
Great. That you also answered another question there as well. From a question from Natalie, does tagging people in posts help reach?
No, it's honestly, it's a really, really bad way. Unless it's applicable, don't tag. So say if you were a fashion influencer or you were in the fashion industry or makeup or something like that, and you were tagging the brand, then that's okay. But if you're tagging random businesses to get reach, it's not going to work. In fact, you're confusing the algorithm. So it depends why you're tagging. Like if I was if I was a makeup artist and I was tagging L'Oreal on my lip gloss, which was L'Oreal, that's fine. But if I am posting a reel and I'm tagging this market or that market or another one, it's not really doing anything. It's just annoying the other person because the other person gets a notification. I get tagged in reels all the time and it drives me wild and it's nothing to do with me. So if it's applicable, it will help with reach. But if you're just tagging for the sake of tagging, it's not going to help.
Great. I'm keeping an eye on the time. So we'll answer maybe 2 or 3 more. So I'm just looking for questions that haven't been asked yet. So any tips on using threads, Instagram threads?
Do you know what? I haven't actually joined Threads myself yet. I only got access to it. I think everybody in Europe only got access to it a few months ago. And it's something, do you know the way I always think is I need to try it, but I suppose I just haven't had the time. But with any social media platform, I always say, don't be on a platform because you feel like you have to be on a specific platform. For me, I don't think it really resonates in my business. I was never on Twitter before. So I don't know would that style work for my business. Now, I could be wrong. I could love it when I try it, but it's not something that I'm running to hop on yet. So when I do, if you're following me, I will talk all about it and give you my honest feedback then.
Great. Question there from Jacinta. Any tips on coming on camera to talk to people on your Instagram?
Okay. Yes. So always remember, okay, I never ever shoot live like on the Instagram app, okay? Because I'm afraid it's going to publish or something by accident. So I always just shoot on my phone. I always shoot on the opposite side to my partner of the house because I don't want him to hear me because he'll only take the mick out of me. So I'm at the other side of the house and I make sure that I'm on my own, that I'm shooting in front of good light. It makes you feel that bit more confident, but also you can use those apps that I'm trying to think now, what are they called? The teleprompter app. So you can pop in exactly what you're going to say, pop it into a teleprompter app. Just type in teleprompter into your app store and download one of those. You can pop in exactly what you're going to say and you can read it from your screen. Nobody can see it. And then when you publish it, it's like you're just chatting to the camera. And that is what I used for months before I started, because I wanted to get used to it. And then when I did start, I used it for another couple of months, and then I stopped, because you grow confidence over time. And sometimes it feels like you never will, but I promise you, you will. It's like riding a bike. It's so hard at the beginning, or driving a car. You think, am I ever going to do this? And then you do. And then I wouldn't say it becomes second nature. It definitely doesn't for me anyway, but teleprompter app, it's a life changer. It's honestly a game changer. It's brilliant.
I might try to use that myself. I also have a fear of talking on camera on
Yeah.
Instagram Reels, but I know it's so important to do so.
Yeah.
Question there from Simona. Should I really reply to comments under a post immediately after posting? Does it make a difference?
Okay, great question. Yeah, so I would say to you, okay, you don't need to be like, if you're out and about, then, and you can't, then that's okay. Don't worry about it. Like I always say to people, you know, do kind of what suits you as well. So if you can, then do, because it will give you a teeny extra boost in the Instagram algorithm. But I've had reels before where I've actually been at a function, I've had them scheduled, and they've performed just as well. So if you can, do. If you can't, don't worry about it. That would be my advice.
Great. We'll just take two more questions. As Catherine said, you can follow her on Instagram at the Marketing Club. You can also follow UCD Professional Academy on Instagram. We also have a LinkedIn, and if you want to have a look at our own short courses, you can pop up to our website, UCD Professional Academy. Two more questions, and then we'll finish up. We've honestly a load of questions here, so it's great engagement. How important is maintaining an aesthetic feel on Instagram grid?
Oh my God, I feel like you've actually read my mind. I have a reel on that today, ready to go. After this, I'm going to be posting it. So follow me on. I'm joking. Okay, so what I would say to you is, I would say to you, pop in your brand colors where you can. The aesthetic feed, I actually say in my reel today, it's very 2015, okay? It's really like 10 years ago. It's that kind of dated look. All people care about is what can you do for them. Now, the one maybe business would be like maybe a jewelry business, something like that. That would be the kind of only exception to the rule, those kind of businesses maybe. But generally speaking, don't worry about it. People only care what information you're going to provide them. So use your brand colors where you can in your reels, for the text of your reels, in your carousel posts, do it in your stories, on your captions. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. You want your feed to be neat and tidy, but you don't need it to be aesthetically pleasing by any means.
Great. And I think we'll finish on this question. It's a great question. If you edit a post after posting, does Instagram show it to less people?
Great question.
Yeah.
So that's actually a great question. Yeah, it's actually something, it's like an Instagram myth. So no, it makes no difference. You can edit it. The head of Instagram actually came out, I think a couple of years ago, maybe at this point, and he said that it makes no odds. So if you make a mistake in your caption, please don't worry about it. If the reel performs poorly, like I've had times before where I have edited it, and the next thing I look at my reel and it maybe has less views, I'm like, that was my editing my caption, but really that was just the reel. So don't worry about it. Edit it if you need to. We all make mistakes. There's no problem in doing that.
Great. And I just say one more thing, Carol there saying we didn't get to his question. Carol, I think your question was, can you watch the recording afterwards? Yes, we are going to send this recording to everyone that signed up to this email in the coming days. So keep an eye on your inbox as well. It might be in 3 days, it might be a week. Just keep an eye out on your inbox as well. I think we'll leave it at that. Catherine, thank you so much. We've all learned so much. Honestly, I'm going to our Instagram account after this and applying these changes. And thank you everyone for giving up your lunch hour to join us today as well.
No, thanks so much,
guys.
I really, really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye, Aislinn. Bye, guys.